Hi, and welcome back to my videos. Now you may notice that this is a different farm we're on, and this one here is an English farm. The reason for that is I've been playing BallySpring since version 1 first came out, which was probably about 3 years ago or more, and I'm beginning to get a wee bit bored with it, so I thought it might be time to try a new map or play a new map. But in actual fact I decided instead of doing a new map, so let's do an old map. And the reason I decided that is that there's a lot of old maps that that I used to play on older versions of Farming Sim and things. I kind of missed them a wee bit, and I thought, you know what? The first map I ever played on FS22, which is this one, Greenlands Farm, I actually kind of missed that too. So I couldn't really go back to the old versions of the Farming Simulator maps I used to have because I haven't kept all those mods, and I simply can't find all the mods to download again. And I know AK has offered to help me try and find them, but they're simply, sorry, I should have opened the door then. They're simply not around. So I decided to go back to the very first FS22 farm I ever played. And a lot of you know that I play the same farm for a very, very long time, so I've been on BallySprings for years now. And BallySpring was actually only the second FS22 map that I ever put any decent amount of time into. And this was the first one. So this one's called, as I said, it's called Greenlands Farm. That's why I'm driving a DeLorean right now, just as a time machine to sort of come back in time to this old farm. Now I have had to remake the farm, so I hadn't kept it when I upgraded to BallySprings. I got rid of my Greenlands map. But I decided I wanted to play Greenlands again, so I've rebuilt it to pretty much the way I had it before, with a couple of small changes which we'll discuss as we go around. And so we will go and have a look around. Now, first things first, ignore the amount of money you see I've got. The reason for that is that I haven't quite finished setting this up. I've still got to get my bales to start me off. But basically pretty much everything else is set up on this farm now. Now, one of the two things I have changed since I originally used to play this is the house. And the reason I've changed that is that when I played this map, that was before the Object Hider mod ever came out. And the house is one of the things on this map you just couldn't get rid of. So try as I might, I just couldn't get rid of the house, and I was stuck with the one that was on here, which was in the same location here, but I never liked that house, and I always wanted to get rid of it. I even tried finding a bigger house I could sort of put over the top of it, but that just didn't work. Now that we have the Object Hider mod, I've been able to hide the old house and put this new one on here instead. Now, I know that my good friend Fury Machine Gaming has played this map before, and the one thing he hated about this map, I think he liked the map overall, but the one thing he hated about it, and this is a fair point, so I'm not knocking him for it, is it's quite a hilly map, but it's got quite narrow gates. So it's very difficult to find tractors and things that are big enough to pull your equipment up the hills, but small enough to fit through the gates. Now, there is a way around that. You see these two red poles either side this gate, one here and one here. If you cut those with a chainsaw, one of them gets rid of all the gates off the map, the other one gets rid of all the hedges off the map. I know that Fury Machine Gaming resorted to getting rid of all the hedges off the map, and I can't blame him for that, because I mean, I fully understand why he did that, but to me it kind of loses the English feel to it when you get rid of all the hedges. So I have instead persevered and found some tractors that are big enough to haul the stuff I need, but small enough to still fit through the gates and things. So we'll jump on the quad here. Now, I've got this farm set in the 90s, hence why I'm riding a quad bike. BallySprings is set in the 80s, so I've got a trike. This one's set in the 90s, so I've got a quad now. So we'll just go to the map overview first, just so I can show you that's the portion of the map I own. So that's the whole map there. As you can see, the bottom quarter of the map is all just forestry, if people want to do forestry. But even if you ignore the forestry bit, that's the size of the map. And sorry, I didn't go away. And that's how much the map I own. So I'll show you around. It is a dairy farm, but unlike my BallySprings dairy farm, this one has 5 paddocks that I can plant crops in. So it's got quite an extensive size, quite an extensive crop thing going on as well. Now, first of all, let's talk about the yard. So in the yard here, there's one shed that I deleted, and I replaced it with another shed in the same place, which looked older, because the whole yard looked too new to me. So the only building that's left in this yard that still looks nice and modern is the milking shed straight ahead of us. I've deliberately done that because that is a new milking shed. This is quite an extensive size dairy farm operation, this one. Unlike BallySprings, where I've only got 40 cows on the whole farm, this one's got 140, though some are calves and some are yearlings, so they're not producing milk at the moment. But I still have 100 milking cows on this farm at the moment. So it is quite an extensive milking operation, hence why I've got the new milking shed straight ahead of me. But apart from replacing one shed, which I'll show you in a few minutes over there, the other thing I did to really age this is all of the farmyard was all done in concrete. So I used the painting thing to paint it all in mud and dirt and put some tufts of grass lying around. Just that one little change to the ground textures gave the whole farm a much older look and feel to it. So that's my main tractor shed and workshop over there, and I've put in that fuel bowser, which is the gravity fed one. I really like the look of those. I do have one greenhouse over here in my backyard here, which has some strawberries growing at the moment. Should have some strawberries growing. It's probably on the hour that they'll pop up, because I only just got the water into that greenhouse, so that's probably why they're not showing yet. Also, while we're in the yard here, I'll show you, because I know that another one of the guys that loves to watch my videos, Jason, loves his international tractors, so I thought I can't go without having an international tractor. So here you go, Jason, this is for you, a little international lawnmower tractor, and we will periodically be mowing the grass in my house paddock here, just in this little house paddock area. We're not going to use that lawnmower on the farm. That one's just for doing the lawns around the house here. Okay, so we'll jump back on the quad again, and we'll head up this way. So, as you can see, I've got a harvester. That's because, as I said, I've got 5 paddocks here that will get crops in them, so it's worth having my own harvester. These 2 bunker silos here are where I'm going to put my bales, and this is why I haven't reset my money yet. I've got to put in 16 hay bales, 16 straw bales, and 32 total mixed ration bales, and once I've bought all those and put them all in there, then I'll reset the money to $10,000. I've already reset my overdraft to $200,000. I'll reset the actual cash on hand to $10,000 then as well. So this is the behind area of the milking shed. Now I've got quite a few cows. We'll just jump the gate here. So this is the only paddock of cows that comes on this farm, and that's because this paddock of cows is part of the milking shed here. But I've added a lot more paddocks of cows. Now, one other change that's been done since the original is, because we now have the extendable pastures mod, I've been able to do a lot better job of all these cow pastures. Before I just had to, I had that mod that gives you the 3 different sizes of open pastures. You had to just find the one that fitted the paddock best. But with the extendable pastures mod, I've been able to fill the entire paddock with cows. Actually, that one, if you excuse me for half a second, that paddock needs a tree in it, I've decided. So we'll go trees. I'll go a big oak tree, I think. Let's put one in the middle of this paddock somewhere. Oh, no, I have got one there. I just couldn't see it before. We might chuck another one in fact, then. Just so we've got a couple of oak trees. This farm, I've actually got trees in the middle of a lot of the cow paddocks for shade for the cows, which is something I don't have in my BallySprings map. So we'll go back over here. Jump on here. Now if we head down this paddock here, we'll look at next, which is down a long drive. This is a grass paddock, one of the 3 paddocks I've got for mowing. Now it is grass and it is planted, as you can see, but it hasn't grown yet, which is why I'm going to buy in some bales, just so I've got some bales to be feeding my cows while I'm waiting for the grass paddocks to grow. Okay, and this paddock I put this little island with an oak tree in the middle of it. I quite enjoy working around things when I'm working in paddocks. And no, I don't own that paddock there, but there's another one down here further which I do own. So we'll go and have a look. This one here is my second grass paddock, which again has to grow, but that will be grass for mowing and making bales out of. So that's 2 of the 3 grass paddocks I have, and I shall take you and show you the third one. There's only 3 paddocks I'm going to be using for making bales from on this farm. Hopefully that's enough with the huge cow herd I've got. If not, I might have to put one of my other paddocks to grass. So if we jump over here, now this paddock here, this is a vineyard, and so this was the first farming simulator where you could do vineyards, I think, and I enjoyed trying them out here. The one thing that I possibly shouldn't have done, I learnt with time, but I wanted to keep this how I had it, is this vineyard's on a fairly decent slope, sloping down to the river here. Now one thing I discovered is that when you're working a vineyard, it looks really good if you're using a very, very small tractor, probably an open cabin one with a roll bar on it. Unfortunately, those tractors aren't very powerful, so if you end up putting a vineyard in on a slope here, the problem is the tractors that look the best in the vineyard just don't have the power to pull the equipment on the hills, and the ones that have the power don't necessarily look as good on the vineyard, but that's okay. And this here, this is my 3rd grass paddock here, and again it hasn't grown yet. It has been planted, it just hasn't grown yet. I forgot with these gates you go back to where they shut from to close them, not to where they are currently. So you've now seen my 3 grass paddocks and my vineyard. So we'll go back to the quad and I'll show you a bit more. I might try and give you a bit of an aerial view of the vineyard. In fact, probably the easiest way to do that is go into construction menu and we'll just grab something very, very small. Let's grab the dog kennel. I'm not going to put that in, but just it's a good way of being able to show you a aerial view. So this here is all my vineyard. That whole paddock there is all vineyard. This was actually one big paddock. I split into 2, a mowing field and a vineyard. So that's my mowing field, you've just seen with the tree in it, and 3rd mowing field. Okay, so now, yes, back. Now along here, because I'm going to use a lot of slurry on this farm, to use the new slurry, the slurry DLC, this here is a slurry point where the cows that actually produce slurry, you can get it from there. I've also got a slurry buy point here, so if they're not producing slurry fast enough, I've got some others that will produce slurry as well. If they're not producing slurry fast enough, I need more than what they're producing, I can purchase some there. Now, coming over here, and just open this gate up here. This is another one of my cow paddocks. And you can see this one is also on a hill and it slopes down to the river once again. Sorry, that one was a bit steep just there, but this goes right the way down to the river again. So that's one of my cow paddocks. Now, coming up here, this is one of my crop paddocks. And again, you might recall I told you with that oak tree, I like having it where, actually before I go running off too far, let's just unlock this vehicle so I can jump back into it. And I'll get back to it shortly. Oh, I don't have to run all the way back to it. So this crop field here, again, I wanted something that I could have to navigate when doing my crops. Like I enjoy navigating around things when I'm mowing grass. I enjoy navigating around things with crops. So I've put it in a little, almost like an island with some trees on it here. And you can see there's nothing growing in this paddock at the moment. You can see that when there is, I'm going to have to navigate. I'm going to have to plant around this, harvest around this, fertilise around it and everything. So again, it's just a little something I put in there just to have something to work around. Now, I might have put my lights on here, it's quite dark. I put this bus in here. I put a whole lot of old vehicles all around the farm, and there's beehives here as well. And this takes us down to one of my sheds here, where I've got a lot of equipment stored, and the milk tank. So on this particular farm, unlike on BallySprings, I don't have a milk auto cell mod downloaded. I'm going to go around all my cow paddocks collecting the milk, putting it all in here, and I even have there's a milking tanker that I'll use to come and collect the milk from the farm. If we go up here, now one thing I've done with this particular farm, because when I last played this farm was a very long time ago, and a lot of the mods that exist now didn't exist then, I sort of taken advantage of it to some degree, you know, with the hide mod to hide the old house and put in a new one. But one of the things I used to do in this paddock here is, before we had the animal extension mod where you could have baby calves and things, and you could have bulls as well as cows, what I used to do, and I've done it here, and I'm just trying to see if I can find one of the animals. That looks like one of them over here. So what I've done is I've got these big black, now what breed are they? This will tell me down here. Angus. So I've got 2 Angus cows in here, which I'm using as bulls. So if you ever look down there, you actually they are actual cows. But I didn't want to download the animal extension mod, which allows you to have calves and bulls and things. I wanted to do it old school the way I did it when I first started out. So I've got 2 Angus cows in here, which are actually I'm treating as bulls, and all the rest are the Holsteins, which is my milking herd. Okay, so and here's another big paddock of cows. We're actually going to drive right around this paddock. Now on this map originally, over here we had a sheep pen and a pig pen. Got rid of both of those and put in more cows. Because I've got more crop paddocks in this one, I've put in crop tanks. I got rid of the ones that were on the farm as the standard farm, because I wanted to be able to use the Aggie pack, and this is what I did originally as well. So I put these 2 Aggie tanks in, and this huge grain, I'm not even sure what you call it, grain loader. So this, I can turn it around. It's big enough so I can put it around this way to load from the bottom of the tank and load into a truck, or I can turn it around to load into the tanks as well. This here is the shed that, there was a shed here originally on this farm, but it was a very modern looking one, so I got rid of that and I put in the older looking one instead to replace the modern one. So by changing that shed and changing the ground texture to all dirt and mud and bits of grass, I think I've really managed to age the farm well. As I said, I have kept the modern milk shed there because this is quite an extensive milking operation. Now we'll head down the drive here. In fact, I can probably get rid of that DeLorean now. I only want the time machine because we're going back in time to this old farm. I don't intend to keep the DeLorean, it's too out of place on my farm. This paddock here, which is the same one I showed you a moment ago, just we're approaching it from another side now. What I've done is when I've put all the extendable pasture is in here, I've left all this area of the paddock with no extendable pasture in there. Now that means that no cow will ever walk into this area of the paddock, and that's deliberate. And the reason for that is that this corner of the paddock here is where I tend to stack any excess total mixed ration bales I've got while they're slowly fermenting into total mixed ration after I've wrapped them. And what I do to stop the cows from eating these bales while they're here fermenting away is I put an electric fence up around the bales. So this corner of the paddock here I sort of stack bales in and put up one of those temporary electric fences, and so I didn't put the extendable pasture mod extending into that corner, just so I wouldn't have any cows walking into that part of the paddock, since it was going to end up with bales in it and electric fence around it to keep the cows away. Now, heading down this driveway again, on the right hand side of us here, we've got a couple more crop paddocks with nothing growing in them yet, and on the left hand side we've got another couple of crop paddocks with nothing growing in them yet. And because there's nothing growing in it yet, I can go up here, I can show you right up here. I've got some old truck wrecks sitting in the corner of the paddock here, which all the vehicle wrecks that you'll see lying around the farm, and I'll point a few of them out to you as I get to them, I added in. The other thing I've added in, and I did this on the original one of this I did as well, just something else to add a wee bit of a challenge. I've got a big drainage ditch going along the entire length of this paddock down here. As you can see, it's pretty well dry at the moment. In reality, because there's no in fact I do actually have a paddock flooding mod where it puts water in the lowest portion of the paddock every time it rains. This may actually fill up with water when it rains. I didn't have that mod when I was originally farming on this farm, so that drainage ditch was always dry. So I just put it there as something else to have to navigate with the combine harvesters and tractors and the like. So yeah, I put all that drainage ditch in myself, and then come down here across this cattle grid, and we've got more paddocks here to plant crops in. What I've done with this one is I've got a power lines running from way over there by the house sort of thing and connecting up down here. Now sensibly the power lines actually follow the driveway. I wanted to put them through here so that I had these power poles to have to navigate once again with combine harvesters and things when I'm harvesting this field, or with tractors and seeders when I'm seeding it. And it's actually, thank you very much to AK, the power line mod there, I wasn't entirely happy with it. Put the power lines too close together, so he modified that mod for me so I could now have the power lines twice the distance apart that the original mod allowed you to have. Now, when we head back to this track over here, I'm not actually sure whether this single lane bit here is meant to be part of the road or part of the driveway to the farm. I would have changed it to gravel if I could, because I think it should really be gravel, but it wouldn't allow me to paint this, so I've just left it how it is. But in order to make sure that people know that it's part of the farm driveway and not just a single lane bit of road, I put in the front gate here to my farm and also the mailbox here. I put both those in just so that people were in no doubt that this here is the driveway down to the farmhouse and not just another road. I do, let's close it from over here. I do love farms with long driveways down to the farmhouse and things. So we'll go for a bit more of a drive now on the road here. And the traffic on this map tends to be quite fast moving and can get quite vicious. So you do have to watch it. But again, I actually enjoy, and you'll notice I've done the same thing on BallySpring, I enjoy having some paddocks you have to get out onto the road to get to. So I actually enjoy driving tractors and things down the roads and not just, you know, in the farm. So this is another paddock of cows, and this one here, if we wander over this way, you'll see I've not only planted a tree in this paddock, but I've also put an old tractor wreck under the tree there, rotting away. Now we'll jump back to the quad bike, and we head back down the road, back the way we came now. And I apologise, this video is probably going a wee bit longer than my normal ones. I normally try and stick to about 20 minutes for my videos. This one's probably going to be closer to 30, just because I've got so much to show you on this farm. So I apologise in advance for this, but I'm actually really looking forward to going back to this farm again, which, as I said, I spent thousands upon thousands of hours on this farm. Did I just go past the gate? No, I didn't. Okay. Before BallySpring came out. So this is the farm I was playing until BallySpring came out, and this I think was actually one of the first UK maps come out for FS22. Now, if we look in here, and again I've got an old truck wreck here and some old white gates leaning there and another gravity feed tank and things. This is the calving barns, This would probably, the way I play it, probably have originally been the milking sheds before that new milking shed was built, and then it was turned into calving barns after the milking shed was built. And this is the other place that I can get real slurry from without having to purchase it. So slurry there. So these barns here are quite extensive, as you can see. It's quite an extensive setup. So as I said, this would have been originally the milking shed, but when the new milking shed got built, this got turned into a calving barn. Now, because I haven't downloaded the animal extension mod for this farm, my calves, when you get to them there, you can see they're showing as 0 months old, but they're still showing as full size, and that's because you can't actually have the smaller calves without having the extendable animal mod, which I simply wanted to avoid. So that's why I've got the bulls, and those bulls I've also made 0 months old, so they won't produce any milk or anything, because obviously since I'm treating them as bulls, I don't want them to be producing milk. So that's there. And over here I've got another tall oak tree with a tractor under it. These here are yearlings, so once again physically they're the same size as my milking herd. If you come up to them here, you can see they're 12 months old, these ones, so they're not actually milkers, these cows. They won't be producing any milk yet because they're only yearlings. And then you can come around here and get back. There's a second gate through here back into this area, which is the back of my old milking shed and current calving barn. So I think we've pretty much looked around the whole farm now. Yeah, pretty much everything. But so, as I said, this is quite an extensive farm, this one, compared to BallySprings. It's a lot bigger. It's got 5 paddocks that I do crops in instead of just 2 like BallySprings has, and it has 140 cows plus 2 bulls, whereas BallySprings only has 40 cows. So this is definitely a much bigger dairy operation than my BallySpring farm. Now, one thing I have done, because as I said, I played this many years ago, this map, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Probably spent about 1,000 hours on it in total, and we're going back to it now, of course. But because I had deleted this map and had to rebuild it all, which was actually a good thing really, because it means I got to upgrade the farmhouse, which I wanted to do, and use the extendable pastures mod to make my cow paddocks better. They're in the same place as I always had them, but they just look better now. What I've done, even though I'm kind of a wee bit bored with BallySprings right now, I've not deleted it. So we might go back to Bally at some stage, but for the foreseeable future, when I do a video, I'm likely to be doing it on this farm here, which is Greenlands Farm. But as I said to you, this is extensively and heavily modified from the Greenlands that you would download off the website. So you could download the original Greenlands if you wanted to see what it originally looked like before any of my modifications, or if you really like what I've done and you'd like to try playing it the way I've done it, I'm happy to send you my save game and mod files so that you could give my version of Greenlands Farm a go. But we'll call that now, because the video is about 30 minutes long now, and I really don't like going more than 20 minutes, but I said so much to show you. And the next video I do will be me doing some actual work on this farm. Okay, thank you very much all. Bye.